All right, at this time, I'd like to call the regularly scheduled Committee of the Whole meeting to order. It being held here in the Village of Tinley Park, Cook and Will Counties, held on Tuesday, December 19th, 2023. Village clock has it at 6:01 PM. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Brady?
Here.
Trustee Brennan?
Present.
Trustee Mahoney?
Present.
Trustee Mueller?
Here.
Trustee Shaw?
Present.
Trustee Sullivan?
Here.
President Glatz?
Present.
Very good, we have a quorum. Item number 3, consider approval of the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting held on December 5th, 2023. Is there such a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Trustee Mahoney. Trustee Sullivan, would you like to second it?
I'll second.
All right. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Roll call for item 3, Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Very good, that motion carries. Item number 4, receive presentation for mid-year budget for fiscal year 2024. Hannah?
We'll let Brandon go ahead and take this one.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Board. Here we're just showing you the mid-year budget review for FY24. Keep in mind that the mid-year would be as of October, so we're going to read through this. I've got it here. We're going to go over tonight just the FY24 general overview, and then our FY25 budget status to let you know where we stand on that. The general fund itself, I compare it from the budget against the actual. You'll see revenues are about 43% of actual to what we budget for the year. And the expenditures are 40%, which is good to see that we're right aligned together halfway through the point of the year. Just giving you a couple of trends through here with our budget. We have the municipal sales tax. It's October distribution. Keep in mind this is July activity, but it's money we actually receive in October. And you can see that this year we've received in October 1.6 million. Compared to last year, we're at 1% change, so we're right on cue where we should be. You've got the home rule sales tax to show you again it's October distribution from July activity from the monies that were collected. This month we're actually a lot higher. They established a new high benchmark for the year, actually overall, and it's a percent of a 9.4% increase on our home rule sales tax. Our income tax, let's see. Yeah, sorry. Our income tax itself, again, we have, compared to last year at this point, we're 7.4% increase. But year to date, you're gonna notice that we're down 3.7%. And that's just due to a timing issue itself. You'll see that overall, we looked at like the next month and we're back on track where we're supposed to be. It's just the timing of collection for our income taxes. Our video gaming, again, it's October reporting. It's the share of the sales tax that were collected in September. You can see that we're at 12.9% increase over last year at this time of the year. Overall, it's a 10.7% increase. And again, there's 41 establishments active for the reporting month with 235 machines. So there's an upward trend here that's still going strong. We got the property taxes. A lot of this has to do with the 107% change from last year has to do with timing of when the bills have gone out in the collections. That's the biggest change that we have. And overall, from year to date, we're at 28% increase compared to last year. The next I have here is the special revenue funds. These are your like motor fuel tax, local road improvements, obviously street maintenance, custom seizures, 911, the hotel accommodation tax, fire alarm, foreign fire insurance, and our stormwater management. You can see with the revenues, we're at 42% where we should be. Expenditures are a little bit lower. As of right now, we're only at 24% compared to the budget. This is just more of a timing of when some of the projects need to be completed. You got your motor fuel tax. This always fluctuates. You can see that from this month compared to last year, we're down 0.5%, not big of a change. And overall, down 1.6%. But you're gonna see this always has a constant change in fluctuation from year to year and month to month. We got our hotel accommodation tax. Again, this is down 2.7% compared to last year. But overall, we're at 15.6% increase compared to last year. And we go to our enterprise funds. You can see our revenues are actually a little bit stronger compared to our budget. We're at 58%, where the expenditures are a little bit lower at 43%. But as you can see, we're spending more than what we're receiving in the enterprise funds. Just taking note on that, that's why that's in red there. You have our commuter parking. This has been an increase, which is good because you're starting to see that post-COVID, we're starting to see some of the ridership has increased. So month to month compared to last year, we're at 14% increase, and year to date at 12% increase. Also want to note here that we got the electronic parking meter project is near completion, and they're expected to complete this in the spring of 2024. I provided a capital project update. What this is like any of the projects that in capital that are either near completion or completed, so at least 75%. It's the portable radios, radio and communication equipment, purchase of most of the trucks, an aerial ladder replacement, our police department body cameras, the electronic parking meters, our water supply system improvements, the water main relocation on 80th Avenue, our water and sewer utility extension, and west side pressure improvements, which is good to see that halfway through the year we've gotten a lot of big projects completed. And then just touching base on our FY25 budget process, we did begin the process for FY25, meeting with all the departments. They are working to submit their respective budgets along with the personnel and capital requests to finance as of December 26th. The finance team will begin compiling and conducting initial review, and our departmental meetings with finance and the manager's office will take place in mid-January. Departments were directed to hold the line. We need to continue to budget conservatively due to ongoing economic uncertainties and foreseeable expenses on the horizon. We have a lot of large capital projects coming up in that matches with our 5-year plan and different developments, as we are aware. And likely the highest priority capital projects and expenditures will be possible. And then we're just asking if you please share any of the FY25 budget priorities with the manager's office at your earliest convenience. That way we can begin looking into the associated costs with these expenses requested. Any questions?
Very good. Thank you, Brandy.
Thank you.
Great presentation. Any questions from the committee? No? Any down here? Nothing? Okay. Well, very good. Well, thank you, Brandy. All right. Moving on. Item number 5, discuss property purchase 17348 South 66th Court. Pat, Hannah?
Yep, I will take that one. Thank you, Trustee Brennan. So as you mentioned, this is an item for the property purchase of property located at 17348 South 66th Court. So we actually already own the parcel just to the south, right there in the corner, and then to the north of this property is where Boulevard Phase 2 will be going. So it's a prime downtown location. The owner recently approached the village. They're looking to sell and move, I believe. So they kind of gave us first right of refusal. So we wanted to kind of take advantage of the opportunity and go ahead and move forward with this purchase. So we are seeking approval tonight for purchase of this property in the amount of $265,000, and funds are available within the budget for this.
Very good. Thank you, Hannah. Any questions regarding item number 5?
I just have one question.
Sure. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
And this price is a lot less than what it would be if they listed it, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Any other questions? Comments?
Control's always
Nothing?
good.
Okay. Is there a motion to move item number 5 to the village board?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Trustee Sullivan. Thank you, Trustee Brady. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll on item number 5?
Roll call for item 5, Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Item number 6, discuss a contract with GovTemps for a financial consultant.
Yep, so what we're doing here with GovTemps is continuing a contract that we started a couple months ago, or back in the summer, with them, Anne Marie has been there. She's a former finance director. She's been helping with some of the transition. We're bringing in the new payroll manager, also helping with some transitional stuff with payroll, with HR. She's also going to be assisting with some of the BSNA implementation, since she has gone through that before. And since we lost the other assistant finance director, she's assisting in some of the leadership aspects of the department too, giving some suggestions on moving forward with the finance director.
Great. Thank you, Pat. Questions or comments? There are none. Is there a motion to move item number 6 to the village board?
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Mahoney. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, trustee Shaw. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Roll call for item 6, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Item number 7, discuss paid leave act. Hannah?
Yep, thank you. We've shared a good amount of information about the Paid Leave Act with the board before, so I'm not going to go super in-depth, but happy to answer any questions. But ultimately, just to kind of recap, back in 2023, or in March of 2023, this year, sorry, the state of Illinois passed the Paid Leave for All Workers Act, which would require essentially all entities to provide at least 40 hours of paid leave on an annual basis to their employees. We are recommending that we opt out of this act. Us, along with most municipalities, are looking to do so. Given our operations of police, fire, emergency management, all of our events, et cetera, it does have the potential to have negative impacts for us in terms of public safety purposes. So what we are recommending is a policy that is attached to this that does at least provide 1 day, and that 1 day definition varies depending on the average hours worked for those part-time employees, but we would provide them with that minimum day to kind of, cover our basis, make sure that they do have at least, that time at minimum. As we've mentioned before, this is something that is kind of still up in the air a bit. We're not really sure how exactly this is gonna play out. There is the potential for future litigation, but we feel pretty confident that this is the right thing to do at this point in time. And again, every other municipality we've talked to are all also opting out for similar reasons as we're recommending to do so.
Very good. Thank you, Hannah. Any questions or comments? Yep, go ahead.
And again, this was something that IML fought against, and the legislators, the Ritas and the Hastings, they're the ones that supported this act to make us pay people for not working.
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
And in the memo, IML, they had multiple legal firms provide legal opinions and whatnot on that as well. So, there's been nonstop communication with legal getting guidance on this, but correct. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Very good. Any other questions, comments? Very good. I see none. Is there a motion to move item number 7?
So
I'll make
moved.
that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Mahoney. I'll give it to Mr. Brady. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Roll call for item 7, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Item number 8, discuss amendment to pay scales ordinance, Appendix B and C positions. Angela, want to take that, or
I'll
are you
go
going to handle it? Okay.
on that if there's questions. Yeah, thank you. This is just updates to our existing pay plan ordinance. What we've been doing is just bringing it before you twice a year. So in May, when we approve the pay scales, and then also just in line with mid-year budget. All these changes that you're seeing, they've already been approved, and some are in place and already, and some are kind of in the works. But again, these have all been approved. They've gone through internal processes. We've looked at, budget dollars, et cetera, things like that. This is just kind of cleaning up the pay scale ordinance to reflect what is actually happening operation-wise.
Very good. Thank you, Hannah. Questions? See none. Is there a motion to move item number 8 to the village board?
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Mahoney. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Sullivan. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Roll call for item 8, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Very good. That motion will carry. Item number 9, Discuss an agreement with Fire Recovery USA for emergency response reimbursement.
Thank you. In December of 2022, the board adopted an ordinance which allowed the fire department to seek reimbursement of costs incurred while responding to incidents. These costs are typically covered by insurance policies. Also discussed at that time of the adoption is that the village will need to utilize a billing company to perform these various activities associated with processing the claims. In order to identify a qualified billing company and to ensure competitive collection fees, the village issued a request for proposal in November of 2023. The RFP sought to identify a vendor capable of meeting the needs of the village for a term of 3 years, with the option for extending the agreement for an additional 2 years. Fire Recovery USA provided the winning proposal. Fire Recovery USA has clients in 43 states and over 150 clients in Illinois alone, including neighboring communities to Tinley Park. There is no direct cost to the village to enter into the agreement with Fire Recovery USA to provide the emergency response reimbursement processing. However, the cost for their services is 22% of the gross collected revenue. I'd be happy to address any questions you may have.
Thank you, Anthony. Any questions for him? I see none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to move item number 9 to the village board?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, trustee Sullivan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Mahoney. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Roll call for item 9, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Item number 10, discuss amending chapter 77.10, pedestrian soliciting rides.
Okay,
Chief?
in addition to, these amendments, in addition to prohibiting people standing in the roadway for the purpose of soliciting rides, it also includes a prohibition for standing on the highway for the purpose of soliciting employment or business from people and cars are driving by. And it adds that nobody shall solicit contributions from the highway unless specifically approved by ordinance, and allows us to do a safety review of what their permitting is to solicit contributions. And then it prohibits standing in the proximity of the highway for the purpose of soliciting, watching, or guarding a vehicle by people who are trying to park. And this is in response to an outbreak of people standing in our major intersections, going in between the cars, who have not received a permit and have not been approved by ordinance. And this increases the safety of people in the highway, and so that's the subject of the amendments.
Very good. Thank you, Chief. Any questions? Comments?
I don't have questions on it. I just want to comment that I think this is a really positive move. I think it fills a couple holes that we had, and hopefully it's going to be well received by the public. It's a wise move.
Very good. Thank you, trustee Shaw. Any other comments? There are none. Is there a motion to move item number 10 to the village board?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you,
I'll
trustee
second.
Brady. Thank you, trustee Shaw. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Roll call for item 10, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Item number 11, discuss changes to Title 11, Chapter 116, Section 116.09, maximum stay length penalties. Hannah?
Yep, thank you. So in June of 2022, we actually did pass a maximum stay length ordinance for hotels and motels. So with 11 existing hotels and continued interest from new hotels, we just wanted to take another look at this ordinance to make sure it was clean and clear. So this really is just minor, just 2 minor things. It ultimately just adds a penalty section, so that way we have some enforceability should someone violate the maximum stay. And then in regards to that maximum stay, it clarifies that someone can't just leave for 2 days and then come right back. So there is a 2-week period that is added in there as well. So again, this is kind of just a couple minor amendments to clean up this ordinance.
Very good. Thank you, Hannah. Any questions or comments on item number 11?
Are the hotels on board with this?
So this ultimately, we haven't necessarily had upfront conversations, but when we did pass this ordinance back in June of 2022, we did have those discussions with the hotels, and at that point in time, we didn't receive any pushback.
Just like to add to that, it doesn't prevent any business people, like if they're there on business an extended period of time, as long as they have, you know, work letter from the employer saying this is what they're there for an extended period of time, then they're allowed to stay past that mark.
Thank you, that was gonna be my question.
So I noticed on that, I thought it was well done in that it explicitly carves out some exceptions. The one you noted, some others I noted, especially with the new Loyola Center, if people are the long-term care for somebody, there's a couple other really good exceptions. You know, if someone's here on extended business run, I think those are well done. I'll just take a moment here. There's a number of items that are coming up this evening and that will be coming up in the future that I think are some very positive moves for the community. My concern on a lot of these is execution and enforcement. So it's just kind of a recurring theme on a lot of these things. If we write well-written ordinances and policies, the trouble is enforcing them. So on this one in particular, I think there's a lot of change management that's gonna have to go into play with the hotels, because unless I missed it in there, I didn't see a mechanism where we're requiring them to positively report on such things. It might be in there. But the burden is on the hotels to report when they have people staying too long, right? But I don't know what we're gonna have in place, and we don't need to go into the details now, but I would hope that we have some sort of mechanism where we can monitor this and enforce it, as opposed to only enforcing it when we find out.
Yep, understood. Thank you.
Very good.
Who would the hotels call to complain or let them know about this?
So it's a fair question. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't name a specific person in
Or
the policy,
department.
but ultimately, with penalties and whatnot, it would be probably some public safety, aka the police, or code enforcement to that extent, because citations would be issued.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Any other questions, comments? Nothing? Is there a motion to move item number 11 to the
I'll
village?
make that motion.
Thank you, trustee Shaw. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Sullivan. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Roll call for item 11, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Item number 12, discuss policy regarding unscheduled intercity buses.
This policy and order reflect a concern that buses that are unscheduled and have made no previous reservations or application or any kind of arrangements for where they're gonna drop their passengers off would come into our area from outside the Chicagoland area, drop people off in inclement weather in places other than an approved or reviewed place of departure. It's happening frequently in other municipalities with large numbers of people. This requires bus operators to fill out an application to be reviewed by the police department and myself with items regarding their manifest, who's on the bus, do they have a place to drop off that we approve of. And the point of this is to make sure that there is not an unsafe condition where unscheduled buses that have no pre-approved drop-off point have deposited their passengers in inclement weather or near a highway where they could be hurt or moving through traffic. And we want to make sure that we have everything in place to give our officers an opportunity to interact with these buses and their operators and cite them if they've functioned in that manner.
Very good. Thank you, Chief. I think the direction that we're given to the guys on the street, I think this is paramount, and I think that's, I appreciate you guys being so thorough with this. So I think this is certainly good step in the right direction. Is there any questions or comments from the rest of the board? Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
I want to thank Chief Tilton, Deputy Chief Rafferty, and Commander Poulos for finding, this executive order that the clerk and I signed. It was an honor to sign it, and thank you to our police department for putting this together for us.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone.
Anything else? All right, is there a motion to move item number 12?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you,
second
trustee Mueller. Thank you, trustee Brady. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll for item number 12?
Roll call for item 12, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Very good, motion carries. Item number 13, discuss policy regarding unscheduled intercity buses for impounding. Chief?
Thank you. Again, this builds on the previous order, and it allows us to impound or seize the bus of an operator who has violated the orders, the previous order, and has deposited unscheduled passengers into an area in inclement weather or into an unsafe condition. The police, and I want to clarify this for everybody who might have a question, anticipate that. We don't interact with the passengers other than to make sure they get to where they're supposed to go. There are many mandated locations that they can be redirected to. However, we don't round them up and take them out of shelter if they've already found it. What we do is try and facilitate their transportation to shelter, and we just want to make sure they're not in an unsafe condition. We don't, what we do, in fact, however, is cite the bus driver and the bus operator and then seize their equipment. So there's a difference, and this is a safety provision that we want to make sure that our officers have the power to enact. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate the comprehensive overview. Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
And again, Chief, thanks again for bringing this to us. Again, I'm glad that we were able to sign it. Thank you.
Anything else? Nothing? Is there a motion to move item number 13 to the village board?
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Mahoney. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Sullivan. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Roll call for item 13, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 14, discuss a contract with Tria Architecture, Inc. for Harmony Square. John?
Yes, sir. The item we're bringing in front of you is a adjustment to a previous professional services agreement that the board approved a few months ago. At the time, the team attorney for Tria Architecture was not available to review it. As a template contract, we were hoping that this could pass the muster, but they had some concerns with the requirements in our template contract for insurance requirements. Going back between our legal counsel and theirs, we finally came up to the resolution as you see in front of you. I will say Tria has been working in good faith to not delay the project up to date. So we're just, again, looking for a concurrent committee and board approval for the now updated professional services agreement.
Very good. Thank you, John. Any questions for John?
I
See
just
none.
had a comment, Rob.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Again, thank you, John. If we all remember, back in April of 2014, we saw Senator Hastings come to the village, take a nice photo op with Mayor Zabrocki and the board, that he was getting money for the village for Timber Drive. Not $1 of that has ever been appropriated. So now here we are 9 years later after Hastings dropped the ball again. So John, thanks for bringing this forward. It's unfortunate that it's not paid through a grant, but is what it is.
Sorry, I think you're speaking on the next item.
Yeah, I think you're on the, I think you're ahead of one
Sorry,
item.
I am one item ahead. Either way, it still stands. He did nothing for us.
Any other questions? I see none. Is there a motion to move item number 14 to the village board?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Mueller. Thank you, trustee Shaw. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Roll call for item 14, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Item number 15, discuss a professional services contract with Robinson Engineering LTD for traffic signals at 80th Avenue and Timber Drive. John?
Yes, sir. As the mayor was so kind to open this item up for me, this is for the design and engineering services for traffic signal at 80th Avenue and Timber Drive. We have had some accidents in the past at that location. For those of you that recall, pre-COVID, we had to stage traffic control at that intersection for many of years. And with the new construction that is going on 80th Avenue, the design team requested that the village put effort into adding this traffic signal here to further improve the walkability of the area to the 80th Avenue train station.
Very good. Thank you, John. It is a much-needed project, well overdue, so, Colleen, I'm sure you
I got
you used to
stuck-
live right over there,
stuck by
too,
that so many times.
Yeah.
I would try to time it. I never got the train schedules
Yeah.
right, and I got stuck in it all the time. So, well overdue.
Yeah, well
So,
overdue.
I think a lot of, I think the people who live in the area and the commuters will appreciate this one here,
Yeah.
so.
Absolutely.
My apologies.
Mr.
I had my cursor on it, it was highlighted, I was sitting on there waiting for this item, so my apologies, as I was looking up the date, when he took his photo with, Mayor Zabraki. And again, here we sit 9 years later, and it's gonna cost us probably 10 times the amount today than it would have costed back in 2014. And now the taxpayers have to pay for it, of Tinley Park instead of a grant, so thank you, John.
Very good. Any other comments? There are none. Is there a motion to move item number 15?
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Thank you, trustee Mueller. Thank you, trustee Sullivan. Madam Clerk, would you please call a roll?
Roll call for item 15, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Very good. Motion carries. Item number 16, discuss a construction engineering services contract with Primera Engineers for helipad improvements. John?
Yes, thank you. This is the next phase in the project for the helipad improvements. Quite a while ago, I presented to you the results of the QBS process of selecting a design engineer, which was Primera Engineering. We are at the phase now for construction engineering, and this phase of the project has an overall budget. We did receive grant dollars of $1.4 million from the state. All of Primera's requirements do meet the state requirements for grant receiving, and asking for committee and board approval of this agreement.
Thank you, John. Any questions for John?
When is this scheduled to be operational?
So we went out to bid, as you recall, that it was approved earlier in the year. The letting for the contractor was approved. They were hoping to start this past fall, but now it's we have some underground work that is going to begin for the burial of the overhead power lines, and starting of the actual construction is supposed to happen this spring. It is our hope that if they have good weather, they can potentially have this thing completed before the end of next year.
Okay, thank you.
It's gonna be 50 next week, so. It's started.
He said next year.
Close, 5 days off.
Any other questions or comments?
I would just like to say, great job on getting the grant for that, too. 1.4 million is a lot of money. So, good job, John.
Thank you.
Very good. Is there a motion to move item number 16?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, trustee Mueller. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Brady. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll for item number 16?
Roll call for item 16, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 17, discuss approving the local share payment to the Illinois Department of Transportation, IDOT, for helipad improvements. John?
Yep, thank you again. So this segues from the previous approval, that construction design has been approved. We have a local share payment for the grant, and that is in the amount of $239,038.74. Requesting committee and board approval for that.
Very good. Thank you, John. Any questions? Comments? Nothing? Is there a motion to move item number 17 to the village board?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, trustee Miller. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Mahoney. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Roll call for item 17, trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Very good, that motion carries. Item number 18, receive comments from the public. Is there anyone that would like to address the committee of the whole? See none. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, trustee Sullivan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, trustee Mahoney. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll for adjournment?
Trustee Brady?
Yes.
Trustee Brennan?
Yes.
Trustee Mahoney?
Yes.
Trustee Mueller?
Yes.
Trustee Shaw?
Yes.
Trustee Sullivan?
Yes.
Very good. We are adjourned at 6:37 PM.